So here we go. 25 V8 supercars. It'll be a thunderous start once again. It'll be 100 kilometres. It's 35 laps. We've got 10 cars with onboard cameras. And because the grid has shuffled around substantially, I dare say we're likely to get some weird and wonderful results here. That was James Courtney we were looking at. There's the front row of the grid. The birthday boy, Craig Lowndes, alongside previous race winner, Jamie Whincup.
And here's your Fuso starting grid with Jamie Whincup and Craig Lowndes, 1 and 2. Red Bull lock out the front row. Behind them, two of the fastest guys in the field. Fabian Coulthard, Mark Winterbottom. Look out for Winterbottom. Scott McLaughlin continue his great form for 2014. Garth Tander, great driver the previous race. Courtney up further. Van Gisbergen, great battle in race 17 with Lowndes. Jason Brighton, Dale Wood. Dale Wood, great job to be on the 5th row. Alongside with Michael Caruso and Will Davison, 11 and 12. That's a great job for, that's basically 5 manufacturers in the top dozen cars, Croppo. Lee Holdsworth, 13th. Davey Reynolds hasn't been fast enough this weekend. Very strange. He was really quick here last year. James Moffat and Scott Pye, 17 and 18. David Wall, Nick Percat. We just spoke to Nick. Haven't heard about his dog before. I didn't realise what was going on there. Rick Kelly, Robert Dahlgren. Rick Kelly, as we said, on second-hand tyres. Todd Kelly the same, and Russell Ingall maybe also the same, we're hearing. We'll confirm that for you too, young Jack Perkins. I totally agree with you, Croppo. He's actually a really talented young guy, just finding his feet in a new environment.
So that's our Fuso starting grid as we go on board here with David Reynolds, Botlow Racing Ford Falcon, standing by to get this thing underway. Going back to the remark I made about Jack Daniels Racing a bit earlier on, if a safety car presents itself, Rick Kelly and Todd Kelly will come in and grab fresh tyres. So that was the strategy play that I was alluding to. However, the other side of the garage, both the Norton cars have got fresh tyres on them for this race. So two different approaches to race number 18. We're wheeling through those that are carrying onboard cameras for us. There's the man who's got 2 pole positions so far today, including a race win. First victory for him since the Tasmanian round at Symmons Plains Raceway. So a few shadows lurking up there in the northwestern end of the racetrack now as the field makes its way down towards Mark Beretta.
You can really feel a buzz down here today, and it's not just the locals, it's people who've come from all over Australia, and why wouldn't you? Look at this beautiful weather. But this circuit has something incredibly unique. From the Hidden Valley sign in, it goes into a giant horseshoe, and it's almost the perfect motorsport stadium. You are up above the action, and from all over this side of the circuit, you can see every part of the track. That's one part of it. And the infield here is chock-a-block. Then you come over here above the pits and have a look at the corporates hanging out over the rails, all set to go, looking forward to getting this race started. And they come here down from Asia, up from all over Australia. It is going to be a great race. Let's go.
They'll be in the hands of V8 Supercars starter Damien White, waiting for the last couple of rows to form. That's Russell Ingall on the right-hand side of screen, Jack Perkins on the left. All clear.
Green flag, green flag.
We're ready to rock in Darwin. Beautiful conditions. This time, Lowndes makes a very good jump. The secondary part of the start, though, favoured Jamie Whincup. And nice work, Garth Tander, who's dropped into 3rd spot. It's Whincup. On the outside, it's Lowndes. Look at Coulthard down the inside, car number 14. He's 4th. He's got McLaughlin on the outside of him. It's Red Bull 1 and 2. Tander's in 3rd. Nice start. McLaughlin got a tickle up. He dropped the right rear into the gravel. Frosty was tucked in behind. So Coulthard 4th, McLaughlin is 5th. Then it's an argument between Tander and Van Gisbergen, followed by Chaz Mostert, or is it Winterbottom? It's Winterbottom.
And what a start. That was an unbelievable getaway for the 2 Red Bull cars. And Tander's been the real winner, but that was Fabian up the inside of him to regain 3rd position. The real loser is Winterbottom. He is way back now. He's lost 5 spots. So Whincup, Lowndes, Coulthard, Tander, McLaughlin, Courtney, Van Gisbergen, Winterbottom, Slade, Bright, Caruso. That was very willing in turn 1. They were bumping each other on the straight. They got round turn 1. They were bumping each other up through the roller coaster. And then it was McLaughlin, Van Gisbergen, Courtney 5 down the inside. It was a big move of his at turn 1.
Isn't that a fantastic shot? Really demonstrates the speed of the cars. So the first 4 or 5 cars got through turn 1 nicely, but back in that mid-pack, as you say, there was dirt and rocks and rubber and bits of paint flying everywhere. Van Gisbergen then was very wide. There's a bit of mirror debris down there as well on the exit of 1. Oh, Van Gisbergen tripped awkwardly over the curbing then. He's got Winterbottom behind him. He's chasing James Courtney.
That was a very good move of Coulthard's. There's Moffat with a lot of damage to the left-hand front. That looks like it's on the tyre bundle, maybe coming onto the straight, or it may actually be another car. Not sure at turn 1. May have been down on the tyre bundles. So they're on the inside of turn 1. So we'll have a look at that for you. We'll find that. But I was really surprised by Mark Winterbottom's poor start. He's made great starts all year. He just went backwards.
Just heard on the radio that they're going to take James Moffat back into the garage, so there's enough damage around the front of that car to warrant taking it in, and that way they can deploy more people on it, concentrate on the task. It puts him out of business. Fabian Coulthard's off to a very good start here, boys. Position number 3, car looks fast. It underscores the value of qualifying well. Fastest man in the race so far is Garth Tander officially, but it's very close in the top 4 cars are separated by less than half a tenth.
But it was a great move by Fabian to get down the inside of Garth Tander, because Garth was going to hold him up the whole time. So that was a great job.
Yeah, if you're just wondering why Mark Winterbottom dropped back those spots, too much wheel spin off the start. Really fine balance between getting the right amount of throttle, clutch release, and not too much spin.
Huge amount of dirt and debris flying there off turn 5. Thanks for the update, Larko. Jamie Whincup, meantime, fastest man through sector 1. That first timing intermediate, by the way, is in the braking approach area to turn 5, which is the right-hander into the valley. Second intermediate is up where we're looking at the boys right now. Winterbottom had a look. He's all over the back of Shane Van Gisbergen at the moment. Car 97 VIP Pet Foods in front of us at the moment. This is the final corner, turn 14. We'll get an indication of lap speed and margins as they cross the control line. 0.3 of a second, Whincup to Lowndes. 1 minute 12.2 for Whincup. 12.1 for Lowndes. 12.0 Coulthard. 12.0 Tander. But it's Van Gisbergen at the moment who needs grease nipples on his elbows. He is a big boy fighting hard down there at the moment to try and keep Mark Winterbottom at bay.
On board now with Mark Winterbottom. This is one of the spots we saw him put a huge amount of pressure on Garth Tander at turn 5 here in the previous race. And then we also saw him have a couple of dives. He's close to having a dive, but so was Courtney on McLaughlin. That's a good move. He may have run him wide enough there, but he's on the wrong side of the road for the next one.
He's agitating Courtney. He's certainly giving him something to think about. He didn't press on with it. Probably would have resulted in awkward contact. But he has got speed at the moment, Courtney. Incidentally, Holden Racing Team fans, remember in New Zealand the guys had the Anzac bonnets on the car to commemorate Anzac Day weekend when we were at Pukekohe, and both Garth and JC had special driving suits. They're up for auction at the moment with the proceeds going to a very good cause. So jump online, you'll probably find all the answers you need on the V8 Supercars website or at the Holden Racing Team's website. So this is Courtney just threatening to sneak up the inside of McLaughlin. It's his teammate Garth Tander in the foreground there, car number 2. There's the margin.
The guy who did the great job on the first lap, Croppo, was Tim Slade. He gained 5 positions. That's a really good start. You said that. You actually predicted that before the start, that you thought he was due for a bit better run, so that's a very good job. And as we said, Mark Winterbottom back 4 positions. Garth Tander up 2.
And it works oddly sometimes. You can be bold and have a run round the outside at turn 1 and all of a sudden the world opens up for you. But often you try and pull that stunt and you end up with someone in the middle of your door as well. Here's the replay of the start. Great initial jump by Lowndes. Secondary start for Whincup was very good, but the inside line was what he needed to protect going into 1. It worked for him. Tander drops into 3rd. McLaughlin was 1 out and 1 wide at turn 1. And there's the wheel spin that Mark Larkham spoke about with Mark Winterbottom. That was enough to allow Tander to jump him and McLaughlin. In fact, they're all giving him a run for his money, including Coulthard. On board now with Tim Slade. And this is the explanation we need. Now, I tipped that he might have done it around the outside of 1. We'll see whether I'm a liar or whether there's some accuracy in that.
Well, normally the road runs out. You can't get around there, so he's done a great job.
He's nailed plenty of them.
That was Courtney.
he got a heap of them off the start, in fact, before he got to turn 1. So, nice work.
5 spots.
Look at the amount of debris flying. Bits of rubber, dirt, rocks, bit of sunlight in there as well, just making it ultra hard. And remember, they're doing this with cold brakes and cold tyres. It's not an easy process. Tim Slade is 9th at the moment. Well done, Tim. He's battling there with Jason Bright. Any ground that you make on the first lap is gold because it's so hard to make during the race. So this is Mark Winterbottom, I think, having a sneak down the inside of Van Gisbergen down at turn 1. He's just out of frame there at the moment. And that battle continues. And Courtney, meantime, makes good ground on McLaughlin and gets by.
So that's now that position. So Mark Winterbottom down the inside at turn 5 on Van Gisbergen. An important move for him in championship points land.
So the Co-Tire leaderboard, let's check what the margins are. It's 0.6, now 0.7 of a second. Whincup to Lowndes. They're on lap 7. Coulthard's in this. So's Tander and his teammate Courtney. It's going to be good. There's a lot going on out there at the moment. Welcome back to Hidden Valley Raceway on 7. V8 Supercars, race number 18, the second of our 100k races today. And I'm hearing that there's an issue going on with McLaughlin's car. We'll try and get to the bottom of it shortly, but I've intercepted 1 or 2 radio messages, and there's something not right there at the moment in the Volvo car number 33. There's also an issue out there at the moment for car number 4, Lee Holdsworth. We suspect a power steering problem, much like Will Davison had in the previous race. James Courtney's been in the wars as well, but up front, 1 second margin. It's Whincup over Lowndes. So here's James Courtney. That's him up in the background. I think he's done that all on his own, just found the weeds. He's locked the rear brakes. But I did hear him come back on the radio afterwards, said the rear of the car is all over the shop. Now, whether that's debris on the tyre or something else is not right, has broken, failed. There was an adjustment issue back there. We'll try and find out during the race, if not after. And there's that smoke that I spoke about. Now, they came back to Lee and said, yeah, we've got telemetry confirming we have oil pressure, so they suspect that it might be a power steering issue, and they'll obviously go to work on that right now. What a shame.
And there's quite a lot of oil coming out of that, Neil. There was a lot of oil on the circuit online where Lee picked that up, and he was basically, he made the offer of, do I park it or do I drive it back? The guy said, no, drive it back, but there is a lot of oil on the road. It's David Couchy talking to Jamie. And that's the code for Jamie. You always hear his radio response is copy, which is very important to know that the driver's actually heard the message, the response.
So here's the field rolling by. Car 36 there, Michael Caruso, who's just outside the 10. He's 11th. There's Courtney trying to claw back some ground after blotting his copybook. He's just gone up ahead of Will Davison for 12th position. So Whincup, Lowndes, Coulthard, Tander, McLaughlin, Winterbottom, Van Gisbergen, Slade, Reynolds, Bright. That's the 10. And of the top 10 cars on that last lap, the third quickest car after the Red Bull cars, as we look at Scott Pye here on Dale Wood, was actually McLaughlin. So I'm not convinced that there's an issue with that vehicle at the moment. So Scotty at the moment is in 5th position. Look at this.
Now, Dale had that drama with Dahlgren in the previous race. That's being reviewed. I just got a message a second ago about that being reviewed. He's had a similar one in the same corner. So as they're doing the review, they can probably just talk a bit more.
He doesn't need to add to his woes. Yeah. So check the margins again now. Whincup through, 0.9 of a second over Lowndes. 1 minute 11.9. He's gone a bit quicker that lap, Whincup. A 12.0 for Lowndes, 12.3 Coulthard, 12.4 for Tander, 12.3 again for McLaughlin in 5th. Larko?
Neil, I'll just see if I can grab a quick word with Lee Holdsworth. Obviously disappointed, mate. Looks like power steering, same as Will.
Yeah, it seems that way. I didn't feel anything in the car. Engine felt fine, steering felt fine, but yeah, saw a hell of a lot of smoke behind me, and obviously best to pull it in and fix it, and so we can get back out tomorrow.
All points tomorrow, mate. Good luck then.
Thank you.
Remember, he had that great run at Winton, Lee Holdsworth, and it's just an illustration again of the highs and lows of this business. We're looking at Russell Ingall, position 21, car 23.
The reason we're looking at Russell Ingall is that Russell, Rick and Todd Kelly are the 3 guys that started on second-hand tyres, the tyres from the previous race. They would have used the fronts to rears. They would have swapped them around on the car, but they've used those. Now, the lap time difference is essentially 2 seconds. So the fastest lap that Ingall's done there is a 13.85. and Whincup with an 11.97. So those guys have chosen to do that. Although it sacrifices this race, it will give them fresh tyres. There'll be one new set of tyres to use at the start of the race tomorrow. So although they've sacrificed this, they're always going to be back a bit because they didn't qualify very well. They're not really sacrificing a great deal if you put it into points context, but tomorrow they'll have fresher tyres to use.
Boys, we just wanted to tidy up the reason for James Moffat coming into the garage. James, we saw you come into the garage. The boys were frantically trying to tidy up the car, get you back out there. Obviously, time ran out. You weren't able to get back out and finish the race. Just tell us what happened.
Yeah, just too much damage to the left front corner of the car, so the guys weren't happy to send it back out. It wasn't going to be completely safe, so we were hopeful of getting back out there and at least scoring some points, but we weren't going to make 75% of the race distance, so have to park the old girl up for today and come back tomorrow.
I believe it was contact with Scott Pye that caused the damage in the first place.
Yeah, I don't know if he came across on me, but, you know, turn 1, lap 1, it sort of all funnels into one down there. So maybe just wrong place, wrong time, but we'll box on tomorrow.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
It's an important point about boxing on tomorrow, because tomorrow, being a 200k race, there's more points on offer. So this goes to your tyre story before, Scafey. So remember that today a win gives you 75 points, as it did in the previous race, and we score all the way back to 25th in the category. But tomorrow, if you win, it's 150 points, and the cascading effect all through the field is double the points. So if you sacrifice, which is a strange thing to say in modern motor racing, but if you sacrifice today's result, potentially, which is what's going on with Ingall and those 2 Jack Daniels racing cars, you may get a bigger payday tomorrow. That's the gamble. But if the safety car comes out, don't forget the expectation at Jack Daniels Racing, they'll come in and put new tyres on. That'll sharpen them up.
It certainly will. And the reality is they qualified. So Rick Kelly qualified 21st, Todd 23rd, and Russell Ingall 24th. So they're already back there. So you're not really sacrificing anything from what was going to be a result. in terms of the back of the field, and this will make a big difference tomorrow. Let's have a look on board. The great pedal shot we've got with Scott McLaughlin in the footwell of the Volvo S60.
Long pedal was what Richard Holway described to me earlier in the day, and he said we've had it since the test day. There's Richard on cue on the left-hand side of screen. Engineer, formerly worked with Mark Scaife, a colleague in the box here, very successfully. And he said we can't figure it out. We've changed the master cylinder, we've changed a bunch of things, and they had the front of the car was semi-naked when I went into the garage. They were looking everywhere to try and figure out what the issue was, and see how much travel there is in the brake pedal there. It's a long way into the footwell. Interesting there also how far Scotty carries the brake through the corner. So he carried an awful lot of brake pressure for a long time all the way through turn one there. That's for an explanation another day, but it's a driving technique to keep the front of the car loaded. And it's a long, long turn down there at turn one. Up into the valley now, turn 6, back to first gear. McLaughlin, we're watching, he's 5th at the moment. Sneak off to a break, Coates High leaderboard. Let's check the margins. It's just on or around 1 second. It's constantly hovering between Whincup and Lowndes. They've got command at the moment. Coulthard is in 3rd.
Great job, buddy. Good pace. Still a long way, mate. 20 to go. 20 laps to go. No dramas. After it, bro. Still good.
Sevens Mega Wall, our coverage of the Sky City Triple Crown, V8 Supercars race number 18 from Darwin, Hidden Valley Raceway, on-track action, race control, pit lane, the curb cams, and all of the action from on board the cars as well. Hope you're enjoying the show. Our leader at the moment is Jamie Whincup. He's got 1.2 seconds over Craig Lowndes. He just snuck a tiny little bit of extra margin in the last lap or so. So it's Whincup, Lowndes, Coulthard, Tander, McLaughlin. Here's Jason Bright, who's had a couple of wins here at Hidden Valley in years gone by, and I said earlier in the day he's the practice record holder, the lap record holder, and the qualifying record holder.
Pretty good pace there. If you do let him through, try and get Brighty when he gets past him.
This is actually quite a good battle. And Courtney right up in behind Caruso. I was explaining before up here at the hairpin, turn 6, the different line on the exit. Just take notice, you see Michael, they use the same apex point, but Michael runs the car right out over the edge. And Courtney that time was just up on the curb, but most of the time he doesn't run it to the curb at all. There's probably half a car width at least in the difference in the exit line out of there. So some of them use the apron over the back of the curb, which ends up getting tyre, rubber compound and grip level outside of the curb, and others run it inside the Vallelunga curb, the little curb that's got the vibration in it, and try to get the best drive like that. It's actually quite interesting to see the difference in the characteristic of the cars there. The other thing that's weird is the amount of speed boating you see with the cars, especially the Commodores. Have a look at the front of that's the rear of the car down, the front of the car up. And a big dive by Courtney. That was a very good bit of braking. That was a very, very long way back. He had it dancing as he got down the inside. That was a good move.
Positive move by James. Moves him up to position number 11. He's gone quiet in his complaint about the rear of the car. I suspect it was the junk that was on the tyres after he toured the gravel. So he's making a recovery now after falling off down at the final corner. Sometimes what can happen down there, remember earlier in the day I made reference to the little seam, the little join in the road down there, and it's really awkward timing because just the nature of these cars, where you brake and where you turn, that bump happens right where you put your foot on the brake pedal. Half a chance that he got his feet tangled down there or didn't quite grab the brake pedal as he would like. Here's the replay on board with James. That's turn 1. That's Michael Caruso that he's just displaced. So nice move to move him up to position number 11. Blake Smith, engineer, in the foreground. Rob Starr on the right-hand side there, about to communicate with James, and Adrian Burgess in the middle, conducting the orchestra.
Okay, JT, you can still get these blokes. Try the front bar now, 3.0, stepper, 3.0.
So Rob Starr just encouraged James to stiffen up the front bar. So he's trying to get the car to just be a little easier on its rear tyres. So he's constantly monitoring the behaviour of the car via telemetry, the radio signal that comes out of the car back into the garage. And it's like a little bit of extra coaching for the driver, that voice that you need occasionally to remind you of the important things. The brake bias, the brake balance and temperatures are important, the rear and front anti-roll bar positions, and even just simple things like strategically where you're at, what lap you're on, whether you need to have a drink. It might sound odd at home, but that little bit of coaching can make a big difference.
It certainly does. And the two options that you've got at this time of the race is you either stiffen the front bar, so you stiffen the front roll stiffness, or you soften the rear. Because what you're looking to do is give the rear tyres as much of a brake as you possibly can by not sliding the back of the car. And what Robbie was just saying was, let's just try to bring the front roll stiffness up, Lucko.
Yeah, well, in addition to that, so you're seeing some driver stuff there. I'm down here at Brad Jones Racing. So the other side of the coin in the data world is the engine stuff. Now, so these guys are monitoring very carefully in every team a screen. Now, this is very typical of what they're looking at. What I think is absolutely fantastic, if we look at our air temperature, 43 degrees, the coolant temperature, or your water temperature in your road car, running at 88, 89 degrees. That is very, very good heat management. Impressive. We've got oil temperature here, coolant pressure, engine oil pressure, battery voltage. The green map here you can see is throttle, as the driver's putting the throttle and taking it off, so they can monitor all that very, very carefully. And all these little dots here you can see, that's what we call the lambda sensors. They're the sniffers in the exhaust pipe, and they give us a really accurate reading of the fuel map that the car's receiving in terms of the fuel-air mixture and the burnt ratio that's going out the exhaust, measured very accurately. So quite fascinating. These guys then, if anything goes wrong, bang, up will come an alarm. We can see this has now gone red because it's gone above 90 degrees.
And Lucko, do they always call them sniffers, do they? Exhaust sniffers. What is going on there?
I'm not even going there.
I thought they were air-fuel ratio meters. Isn't that what lambda is?
Sniffers, mate, sniffers.
Okay.
That's a Larco term, I think. Thanks for that. Informative. Yeah, so the lambda sensors just measuring the air-fuel ratio in the car, and those engine gurus, and there's plenty of them up and down the pit lane, look at all that information very, very carefully. They micromanage performance like you cannot believe. A horsepower or two can make a very big difference. Those temperature spikes that you get at a racetrack like this invariably happen in traffic, and that's what we're seeing here at the moment. So when you're tucked right behind another car, just as Scotty McLaughlin is at the moment, the spike in numbers is extreme. Water temp goes up, oil temp goes up, brake temp goes up, and so does your own oil pressure. So the heart rate can go with it as well, as you try and figure out a way past the bloke you're racing. Here we go. Ooh. Nearly, but not quite. You think about it, that's a pretty sustained heart rate over a long period of time. This is a relatively short race. Team owner there, Gary Rogers. We've got Transporter Cam with Volvo, Valvoline Racing and Gary Rogers this weekend. and they're out there working pretty hard at the moment. So McLaughlin is in 5th position. His teammate Robert Dahlgren is in 18th position, and that's basically sitting on 180 beats at the moment. He's working pretty hard.
And what a little bump there. He's given Tander a little bump on the way out of turn 1. That's a smart thing to do sometimes. You just want to display your intention to say, hey, I'm here, I'm going to give you a fair run for your money. And Mark Winterbottom right in behind. So Winterbottom, we wanting McLaughlin to have a lunge.
It's all getting interesting in the back end of this race. It's Whincup, Lowndes and Coulthard, but it's further back where the question marks are. Stay with us. Boys are on lap 25 of 35, and a reminder, if you want to catch our post-race show, folks, and you're in New South Wales, you'll find us on 7 Mate, and for our Queensland viewers, you'll catch up with us on 7 2. So stay tuned for that one after the race today. You catch all the highlights and the mop-up of races 17 and 18. So New South Wales to 7 Mate, Queensland on 7 2. So the situation in this race at the moment, we're inside the Volvo garage, and it's a Northern Territory version of jandals. I prefer to call them thongs. And Gary Rogers is a dead set maniac, isn't he? We're inside the garage there at Volvo, and now we're inside his car, and Scotty's 5th at the moment. He's 13 seconds from the lead of the race. Whincup and Lowndes have got command. It's a 3.1 second margin. Meantime, in the break, Jason Bright arrived at turn 1 with too much pace, couldn't stop, ran wide, got on the grass, unfortunately lost a little bit of time in that process. He's come back on in 12th position, by the way. Here's Tander, he's 4th. So the top 3 have sort of basically checked out. Coulthard's, Tander can see him, but he's certainly not within striking distance. But this little debate going on here with these guys, this is interesting and far from resolved. It's Tander, McLaughlin, Winterbottom, Van Gisbergen. You could probably almost throw Slade into that brawl as well, especially if there's a little bit more tyre degradation, meaning tyres are getting hotter, they're wearing. It's getting pretty sad for them at the back end of this race. So that was Slade that you saw in the background coming off the right-hander at turn 5. This is Van Gisbergen.
Remember, Slade started 14th, so it's been a really good run. Dave Reynolds' pace is improved. He's been on the back of Slade and putting pressure on him for a while now. That was where the Bright mistake, we showed you that runoff at turn 1. We're on board there.
just looking up there at turn 10 and 11 as well, Scafey, at this time of the day, as you're very well aware, when you arrive up there and you're trying to find a braking reference and you're downshifting and turning the car in, it's ultra tricky at this time of the day because you've actually got a big blast of sun and there's light and shade on the road. We'll probably see it next lap round, but it makes it very difficult to see where you need to be up there, given that you're trying to brake within the last millimetre. This is down at the other end, turn 1, at the eastern end of the racetrack. We're looking from the rear bumper, Mark Winterbottom.
Winterbottom looked like he had great speed. Come right up onto the back of McLaughlin, and he's just dropped off a little bit. He's a couple of car lengths behind Scott now. There's Slade. We said before what a great run that he's had. He's been the big improver of the field. And this is a demonstration of just how hard the drivers in terms of exertion and the way they cope with the heat. 170 beats per minute there for Slade. He's not involved in a battle at the moment. If he was involved in the battle, that'll sneak up.
He's 8th at the moment. He has had a 4th here back in 2011. As I said earlier on in the day, I reckon that at some point in the not-too-distant future we'll see a pretty decent result out of him. He's got some pace there. He's just got to get in all the ingredients just right to be able to show it. So he's behind Van Gisbergen and reasonably clear of David Reynolds at the moment. It's 12.2 seconds, 16 seconds from the lead of the race.
Just remember, go to ticketed.com.au for your Castrol Townsville 500 tickets. That's our next stop on our tour, one of our favourite events. I can't wait for it. I love that street event up there. It's a sort of a hybrid circuit. One end's a parkland circuit, the other's a street circuit.
And the bit that I like, and I always go for a wander on Friday, is just your proximity to the cars. Just go and have a look and you can interpret what they're up to. You can literally see the drivers doing their thing. So if you get the opportunity, thoroughly recommend going up there, and you don't need much of an excuse at this time of the year to go and find some sunshine. We're looking at Craig Lowndes. He's 3.2 seconds at the moment from Jamie Whincup. There's Chaz Mostert. He's in 14th at the moment. Winner last time out in Western Australia. Scotty Pye tucked in behind him. Not a huge difference in lap speed between these guys than the front runners, in fact. What is going on out there at the moment is, with Winterbottom down the order now for the second race in a row, this is hurting the buffer that he had, the margin that he had. Mark's doing some numbers on it at the moment.
So 65 points, Neil. So it's come back. So Lowndes with form recovery for Red Bull. Lowndes and Whincup doing a great job. Winterbottom after that poor start, too far back, lost a lot of ground. 4 positions on the opening lap. And as you said, that's just eaten away at the lead. 65 points, as you can see there. Coulthard still being so consistent. He's put a great season together so far. It's an incredible effort. 136 and then 165 for Whincup.
Good news here for Fabian. He's never had a podium at Hidden Valley, as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the day, so he's on for one at the moment. His best was a 5th in 2012. He's actually got a new suspension component. The geometry of the front of the car's changed. They've got a new front upright in that car, which they tested at Winton, and they decided to run with it here. Jason Bright doesn't have it in the car. They get those supplied by 888 Race Engineering, the people that run the Red Bull Racing Australia cars. So they had a reasonable test at Winton several weeks ago. Bradley, the team owner, was overseas at the time. They were one of the teams that got some valuable kilometres as we continue to watch this battle. It's McLaughlin's rear wing we're looking at the moment.
That's a fairly healthy battle there with Courtney and Dave Reynolds. They're alongside each other on the way out of one. This section, it's so fast, 215 kilometres an hour. The cars slide through the right and left as the tyres have degraded in terms of grip. You can see the amount of oversteer that Dave Reynolds just had on the way out of 5. And when the grip level goes away, everything goes away. So the braking performance, the turn-in point, more entry understeer, more exit oversteer. And the guys now will be driving them. They'll feel like speedway cars. Look at that. Look at the slide there from Reynolds. Like driving in the wet at this time of the race. They're 2 seconds a lap slower effectively than they started this race. And that's what happens.
That was a pretty good illustration then of the light and shade that I talked about up at that part of the racetrack. at the northwestern end, and also great illustration of how much sliding's going on, as Mark said. So the back of Davies' car really animated there. It's hurting the rear tyres. They're inside of the checkered flag now, so they don't have to protect them quite as much. They can afford to let the car slide a bit, but not to the extent that you burn too much lap speed. And Courtney has been taking metres out of David for the last several laps. And remember, Todd Kelly's got old rubber on that car. He's tried to sidestep Fabian, and as soon as he showed courtesy, he drove himself into the dirty part of the road there, and a little moment at turn 5. Here's Coulthard, 7.8 seconds away from the race leader, 4 seconds away from second place Craig Lowndes, and he's just merrily out there on his own at the moment. Done a little bit of driver training for Holt Special Vehicles in the 5-week gap, lots of training, a little bit of a test day, but generally just having a quiet time. He's managing, as you said before, a great season. Here's Larko.
Neil, let's have a chat to his boss. He does stay out of trouble. He's going around, he's having a quiet time, we're just saying, mate, but he's an absolute championship contender this year, mate. His consistency and speed is outstanding.
Look, they're doing a great job with the car. When we qualify with the front guys, we can run with them, and that's you know what you're seeing here today. So it's just a matter of consistently being able to qualify the car well. I think if we race almost as fast as anyone today, we started off trying to nurse the car in the middle of the race and then come at him a little bit at the end. So right now it's a bit hard to watch.
And Bradley, just quickly, I noticed Bridie hanging around the back there, maybe looking after his tyres. I know you'll be on the strategy game tomorrow.
Well, it's probably not the strategy I would have run to, but yeah, he's got a little bit of a drama going on here to brake lock up, but he's fast as well. So we'll see. Tomorrow will be very interesting.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Hugh.
When we looked at the lap times in the last lap here for Fabian Coulthard, he was only just fractionally slower than Jamie Whincup. He was actually quite a bit quicker than Craig Lowndes. So late in the race, he's got good pace at the moment, Coulthard. He's only a couple of hundreds slower than Whincup, who's the fastest man in the field pretty consistently. Jamie's margin's out to 4 seconds. This is Van Gisbergen. He's 7th at the moment. In recovery mode to a degree, because Western Australia didn't run well for him at all. It's not a track that he's fired on over the years, and he lost a bit of ground championship-wise there.
I just don't understand it. I mean,
and that's him on the radio. It doesn't sound like he's doing handsprings. Not doing handsprings with joy at the moment. I don't think the car's totally to his satisfaction. So he lost 1 position in the championship in Western Australia coming into this round this weekend. He was 6th, and here's Todd back in, or in, I should say, not back in. Remember, he started on that older rubber, so they'd be pretty tired now, those Dunlops.
they would be shocking. Those tyres, as I said, would be like driving in the rain. So there's Tander. He's done a good job. I thought that McLaughlin was going to harass Garth when we saw 5 or 6 laps ago at least. He's just been able to sneak away. The other guy I thought was going to put more pressure on McLaughlin was Mark Winterbottom. He probably had to use his tyres pretty hard to get back to where he was. Shane Van Gisbergen's taken some ground off Mark Winterbottom over the last 2 or 3 laps. So that battle, those 4 cars looked like it was going to materialise into a great run for 4th position, and Garth's done a great job just to be able to consolidate that.
It's interesting at this late stage of the afternoon as well that Fabian and his engineer Phil Keat are actually going through a reasonable radio debriefing process at the moment, talking about their car and thinking about tomorrow's setup. Remember, they've got 200 kilometres to do tomorrow, and they must do it with a hard and a soft tyre. So strategically, it's a little different to play as well.
Courtney's lost 2 spots there. He was in front, or he was battling with Dave Reynolds.
Yes, he has.
And now he's back behind Caruso. This might be a bit of an explanation of it if you want to do a bit of speedway action. Look at that. Look at the amount of oversteer. Look at his hands. So it's jumped sideways. It's come off the curb. It's battled to get organised in terms of settling. And then he had a big grab of the oversteer, and then it followed the front wheels, and he had a bit of a tank slapper down to the final corner. So that may be a little explanation of why James is back behind Michael. We saw him make that pass. It was a very good pass down at turn 1. And we also saw him alongside Dave Reynolds. That was for 9th position. Courtney now in 11th. So Whincup, Lowndes, Coulthard, Tander, McLaughlin, Winterbottom, Van Gisbergen, Slade, Reynolds, Caruso. Your highest place Mercedes E63 is in 13th with Will Davison.
There's the gaps for you. That's Whincup back to his teammate Lowndes. 3.5 seconds officially. just looked completely unhurried, no fuss, methodical gear changes, rhythmic steering inputs. He's in the zone and pretty much in a world of his own at the moment, Whincup. So they found their mojo again. He did get a podium in Western Australia, and that helped grab a couple of spots in the championship. But as I said before, that victory in the previous race was breaking of the drought to a degree, because he hadn't won a race since the Tasmanian round at Symmons Plains. He'd been involved in a couple of things that probably created some frustration. And very difficult sometimes with these cars to just find the sweet spot. Well, they've done it today. You can hear the crowd applauding Jamie in the background. It's a 4-second margin. He's done a great job. 2 from 2.
Ripping day, fellas, ripping day. Well done.
Yes, indeed. Well done, Jamie Whincup. A ripper job, to use his words, and it was 3.3 seconds at the end. Lowndes, Coulthard, Tander, McLaughlin, Winterbottom, Van Gisbergen. So Red Bull Racing 1 and 2.
And a great reaction there with the team, because that's a great bounce back after a mini break in the series. We knew that Jamie was struggling a little bit. Their performance wasn't as good as it should have been. They've had a real regroup, put their head down, had a great test session. There's Roland, the owner of the team, and he's elated, and he should be, based on the 1-2 from race 17 and 18. And this man, we've just grown to expect those sorts of performances. He just makes those robot-like performances sometimes, doesn't he? Doesn't make a mistake, just beautiful drives.
It was impressive. He drives the car very straight. His throttle management's very cautious. Doesn't excite those rear tyres too much. Just cruised around nicely today to 2 victories. Let's listen to the crowd.
And no one's ever won the Triple Crown.
And he's well on his way. 2 from 3 so far. It's beer o'clock in Darwin. They've all got their Coopers. It's the right time of day. It's nice and warm here. Actually, might bolt out there myself. Sounds like a good idea. And I reckon Jamie Whincup would be on for one at the moment as well, because that's been hot, hard work for him together with the other competitors this afternoon. They'll carefully manage their fluids and their food intake this evening. Get a massage, get all sorted and organised for tomorrow, because it's going to be very tough work tomorrow. And that's what he's racing for, and he's raced very well to that #1 plate today. Standard procedure in Parc Fermé, where no one can touch the cars, is just to check the tyre pressures as they come in hot off the racetrack. Those pressure management aspects are very important to performance.
All those numbers are logged, so everybody knows. You would have had years of experience in terms of where those tyres have finished the races, and therefore what you would do with it the next time you come back and in the next race. Great rapport between those two guys. They're very, very high-level race drivers, and a great job from Fabian Coulthard. He's put a fantastic season together. And if you just look at the body language of that car and the non-oversteer, look how straight the front wheel is versus the rear wheel. We've seen so many cars sliding through that area of the track today, Neil, and that was a beautiful example of how he's driven the car today.
So Jamie Whincup, race winner today on 2 occasions, races 17 and 18. Let's get into pit lane with Barrett's.
Hey, Jamie Whincup, well done. I can tell by the smile and the thumbs up to the team that this one meant a lot. You're 165 points behind in the championship and closing fast.
Yeah, well, you've got to have a quick car to move up in the championship, and we had that today, and come up with a perfect day, two poles and 2 wins, so I couldn't be happier. I feel a little bit guilty crashing Lowndes' party, but it's also my Nan's 94th birthday, so if you're watching, Nan, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Nan. No one's won the Triple Crown here in the history of the time we've been coming to Darwin.
No.
It's realistic for you now. 2 race wins today, a big one tomorrow. You feel it's within grasp?
Yeah, it's realistic, of course. We'll go out there tomorrow and do the best we can, but it is a massive achievement. You know, it's been going on for over a decade and no one's ever won it. So It'll be, hey, remember the shot. We'll give it absolutely the best we can tomorrow.
Sounds like it's on your mind, Jamie.
Oh, not really. No, we've got soft tyres tomorrow, so the game could change completely. So we've done a lot of work on soft, so we'll see how we go. But all in all, we're very, very happy with today.
You should be. You've got some great results. Enjoy the podium, Jamie. Good to see you back up there.
Thanks, Brett. Cheers.
Hey, Lounsey, what a birthday this is turning into be. A couple of trips to the podium makes for a great weekend.
Oh, look, it does, Brett. Like, Jamie did a fantastic job. We're looking after tyres for tomorrow. Unfortunately, we've got to rerun these tyres. So, it was going to be a hard to beat. So, had a good gap on Fabs. And, of course, both cars is credit to the guys to bounce back and have really good two strong cars. But I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I think that the dual combination tyre is going to be quite exciting.
Lounsey, 40 years of age, you bounced out of the car as if you've just got straight in it. You look as fresh as a daisy. You're just getting better and better.
Like a bottle of red. That's what Scafey tells me. But yeah, look, it's one of those things. Look, I still enjoy it. I'm still fit. I'm still healthy. So why not keep going? So look, touch wood that Roland wants me to keep going as well. But we'll come across that bridge in the next year. But you got to say hello to Levi and Chili back home. But look, as I said, tomorrow will be a hell of a race.
Look forward to it. Of course, Townsville's our next stop too, which you know well, and we can expect great racing up there once again too.
Oh, definitely. Like, it's a really tough track on cars, and for us, we've been mixed emotions. We've been up and down with results, but I'm looking forward to getting there, and of course, then sort of have a little bit more break before we head into our sort of almost endurance. We've got Queensland Raceway, Sydney Motorsport Park, but look, it's still on for young and old now.
Enjoy the podium and the party tonight, Lounsey. Well done.
Thanks, Brett.
And Fabian Coulthard, fantastic view. Great to see you back up and still chipping away beautifully at that championship.
Yeah, look, those boys are pretty fast, so, we did well to come home third. Qualified better in the second session, which, obviously got us in this position, but the boys have tuned my Lockwood Racing Commodore up pretty good, and, I can fight now, whereas, I was struggling before, but, we can't forget to mention, happy 40th to Craig Lowndes.
Exactly right. You get a feeling going in and out of your Brad Jones Racing team at the moment that there's just a great vibe in there. You're in a good spot and you're really moving forward. Do you feel that?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously this is my best result so far in the championship, championship position. So we just got to keep building on that, keep the consistency going, keep collecting these podiums and spraying champagne, and hopefully we'll be there in December.
How are you feeling about tomorrow? It's a big race tomorrow. You've done 2 100Kers today. The heat is intense. It's tough on tyres. How are you looking forward to tomorrow?
Oh, it's going to be tough. Don't get me wrong. It's one of those things where, the ambient's very high, the track temperature's through the roof, mixed combination of tyre. It's going to be interesting to see what strategies people roll out. I think it'll be quite interesting.
Right, rest up tonight. We'll see you tomorrow and enjoy the podium.
Thank you. Cheers.
Just want to try and grab a quick word. Sorry to interrupt. Mate, just if I could have it briefly. It's funny, when you watch drivers, I watch the intensity in which they download with their engineers. I can tell you're into it, mate. It's a good result, P4. You're looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, we are. I mean, obviously, a good day for us. Top 5 pretty much all day. So, big turnaround since the last couple of races. So, a great job by our guys. We used the brake wisely, and it's showing. So, still got a bit more to do. But look, I think there's some real positive signs. So, looking forward to tomorrow. Bit of a different game tomorrow though, playing on the softs and trying to make them live for a million laps. So that'll be fun.
Can I just ask you about them? And I actually think tomorrow's going to be fascinating. So we know some guys already. Yeah, for us in TV land, exactly. We know some guys today conserve some hard tyres, so they're obviously going to go out and run and have softs at the other end. I mean, strategically for you think running the whole race on soft tyres will be the way to go?
Oh, that'd be telling, Larko. We'll have to tell you tomorrow. You'll have to wait and see. I'll ruin the surprise.
All right, mate. Well, we look forward. I think it will be fascinating.
Righto. Well, I hope you enjoy it because it's going to be hard work for us.
Nice job there, Garth Tander. In fact, that was the best finish for him for 2014 so far. He's had a 5th earlier in the year, so it's a nice comeback. There's the unofficial results. Super Cheap Auto results sheet shows exactly what the margin was at the end. 3.3 seconds between the Red Bull Racing Australia teammates. James Courtney in the wars a bit in that one. He did finish 11th. He gets some valuable points, and you can echo those remarks for Jason Bright. He found his way off the road down there at turn 1. Jack Perkins in 20th. These were the boys that either had some problems or ran old tyres. Ingle, both the Kelly brothers with the old tyres, and we saw Todd stop at the very end, and then both Lee Holdsworth and James Moffat had issues. For Lee, it was power steering, and for James, it was damage as a result of contact on lap number 1. The podium is set.
The 18th race of the season, the Sky City Triple Crown Darwin. Would you please congratulate in first place for Red Bull Racing Australia, Jamie Whincup. In second place for Red Bull Racing Australia, the birthday boy, Craig Lowndes. In third place for Lockwood Racing, Fabian Coulthard. And representing the winning team, Red Bull Racing Australia, is David Cauchi. Making the presentation of the trophies, and the third place trophy is presented by Andy Bruin, Board Director, Northern Territory Major Events Company. Making the presentation of the second place trophy from our major sponsor, Brad Morgan, General Manager, Naming Rights Sponsor, Sky City Darwin. Making the presentation of the trophy to our winning team is Glenn Cooper, Chairman and Major Sponsor, Cooper's Brewery. And making the presentation of the first place trophy is the Chief Minister, Northern Territory Government, the Honourable Adam Giles, MLA. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2014 V8 Supercars Sky City Triple Crown Darwin Race 18 winners.
Congratulations to the two teams involved there, Lockwood Racing and Brad Jones Racing, together with the boys from Red Bull Racing Australia. Here's the situation in the championship. 65 points the gap between Frosty and Craig Lowndes, and you can see that it's still a steady performance there by Fabian in third position. We'll roll down that order for you. There's been no real change in the top 8, however. Jason Bright has moved up one spot as a result of his performance. Davey Reynolds has dropped back one spot. Garth Tander's just outside the top 10. He moved up 4 spots as a result of that good run today. Valuable points, setting his race number 19 tomorrow for 200 kilometres. It's going to be good. Jamie Whincup, what a day for him. An extraordinary performance for Red Bull Racing Australia. 1-2 in both races. So time now for us to have a look at the highlights. And what a day it's been, a busy day. Scafey analysis off the line, a little bit different to the first start.
It was, wasn't it? And it was a great start with the 2 lead guys, but a terrible start for Mark Winterbottom. And what about Slade? 5 positions on the opening lap. And what about the drama also through the little roller coaster there? There was plenty of contact, plenty of hustle and bustle. And it was a really good run there. A little mistake there from James Courtney. He was going very well. He'd made ground. And at that stage, that was a very costly error. Holdsworth, power steer problems for the Erebus Motorsport Mercedes E63. Big brake lock up there for Jack Perkins at the end of the main straight. Very fast approach, 265 kilometres an hour. Richard Holway had to guide his charger, Scott McLaughlin. A great young man, 21 years of age. And, oh, that was so close. That was the back of Dave Reynolds. That was Jason Bright almost drilling him there. Courtney, good fight back, come through the field, rounded up Michael Caruso, then got to Dave Reynolds and was pretty lively through this section of road. And then he made a little mistake and dropped those 2 positions back to 11th for James Courtney. Very good day for HRT with Garth Tander. Great fight back, 4 positions in the championship. But what a day for these 2 guys. Craig Lowndes' 40th birthday, Jeremy Moore, David Cauchi, Mark Dutton, all there looking on. A fantastic achievement for this man, Jamie Whincup, to have won 2 races today and be in line to win the Sky City Triple Crown.